Hey, welcome to Amplify You, the 5-day challenge, where I'm going to be sharing my 5 core amplifiers to help you gain, get the help, unleash, unlock the health, the wealth, and the happiness that you deserve. And delighted to have you here. I hope you can hear me, hope you can see me. This is new technology, so last minute frantic adjustments and corrections. And hopefully you can also hear me. So I've had to stick on the headphones because it's just begun to absolutely pour down with rain and it's smashing on the windows and the roof. So I thought this would probably be a better way to broadcast today. So I hope you're well. Hope you had a good start to a new week. You had a great weekend. And this call is just going to be 30 minutes. The calls for the next few days, I'm going to try keep to 30 minutes. And they are designed to help you really get a flavor, an insight, definitely some tools and some practical steps you can start taking immediately that'll start moving you in the right direction. And we've got a huge announcement coming on Friday for you. So please stay tuned. This will be recorded. So if you do miss it, don't worry. Um, yeah, something has been boiling in the background. I put it to bed for a couple of years ago and then, just got inspired to go for it. So I'm delighted to be able to share these 5 core amplifiers with you this week. If you are new to meeting me, it's a pleasure. Hello. I thought I'd just give you a very quick rundown on who I am and just to give you a little bit of insight into my background. So I'm Kellow-Webb. My background is as a PE teacher and sports coach did that for about 15 years. And I was a secondary school teacher for 11 years. And then decided that I wanted to retrain as an Alexander Technique teacher. Did that for 3 years, full time, retrained, relearned, uncovered lots of things physically, mentally, and emotionally, and taught Alexander Technique for 11 years. Had my own practices here in the UK. I'm based down in Southampton, near the South Coast, and then got into discovering more about let's call them the struggles, the challenges that were keeping me from really amplifying who I wanted to be, who I was meant to be. Had a major back surgery and I was struggling with mental health issues, depression, and decided that it was probably 7-8 years ago. It was got to a point where it was either I had to change or it was, disaster looming on the horizon. And that led me into personal development, personal growth. I wanted to help others, started doing a bit of coaching, mentoring, and I realized that there were some big things that I wasn't sharing. I was still hiding from. And start of COVID, lost my business, and then got to a point where I really had to find something to save myself financially, save my family, and also realized at the time that there was an element of growth that I hadn't really fully explored, and that was my beliefs, challenges around financial wealth, and something I just surrendered. Something came to me. I dived into it. I stopped coaching. I stopped everything, and I went on a journey to discover the financial systems of the world, how they worked, and also explored, decentralized finance, crypto, and built up a new wealth portfolio for myself. And within 2 years, hit kind of the six-figure sort of mark that I'd written down 6 years ago, and suddenly realized that something massively had shifted within me. Which brings me fast forward to why I want to share this with you, because I've really just gone back into looking at what are the key things that have made those big shifts. Because from a personal level, life is very, very different now. The outlooks, the emotions, the feelings, the mental clarity, and the confidence and the courage is very, very different to what it was just 2 years ago. So I would love to just share kind of the 5 core things that I did and keep doing that have really, really made the shift, a deep, deep inner shift. And this is not about going out and doing more hard work. This is actually about recommitting to really what lies within. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And I had some amazing help, spent quite a lot of money on finding that help and getting that support, and then really, really diving into it on my own. So this is hopefully something that can help and support everyone here. So I'm conscious that we're a bit short time, and I just want to make sure that we've got enough battery, and we've got plugged into power. Okay, and somebody's turned, just bear with me, somebody's turned the power off. Hang on a sec. It always helps when the plug on. Okay, so just want to put a quick message here to Amplify You. Okay. Right, so very important. There is no specific order for these 5 amplifiers. And I am going to start today with an amplifier that I think probably is the best one to tackle. And hopefully this will kind of open up the rest of the challenge for you. And really, I think the key thing that I want to start with today is that everything comes down to us. We have to take responsibility for how we want our lives to be. I spent many, many years blaming and shaming myself and others, looking for excuses, if you like, not really owning my own thoughts, my own emotions, my own feelings. It was also a belief that that was the way I was, that I was made this way, I was created this way, and nothing could change it. And that was a very difficult place to operate from. That was a difficult place to raise a family in. It was a difficult place to occupy myself. So that first realization of if it's up to me, if it's to be, it's up to me. I have to make the changes. I have to dive into the inner recesses of my mind, my soul, and my heart to create the experiences, the changes, the transformations that I saw other people having, that I saw other people living, and always wondered why it wasn't me. So we're going to start with that today, which is, it's a formula really. The event plus the response equals the outcome. And we're going to focus on the fact that we have to take responsibility for our responses. Okay. And this is the toughest one to kind of wrap our head around, because we are so conditioned, so used to, so habitualized into pointing the finger outside of ourselves. And really, we have to take that stance of, if we're going to point the finger, there's three fingers pointing back at us. So once we have really embraced the idea that we can amplify, and I use the word amplify because it's literally turn up the dial, because we are not trying to do anything different in terms of having to input something that we don't already have. Everything is here, and all we're going to do is we're going to expose it. We're going to go to the core, to the source, and we can then amplify that, because once we do that, everything else starts to shift. The things that we kind of want externally to us start to kind of materialize. We are the manifestors. We're not the creators. Everything we need and want is already created. All we're going to do is use ourselves, our mind and our hearts, to manifest that, to make it visible to us. So we're going to turn up the unique inner dial that we all have. And once we have removed our own obstacles, limitations, blocks, doubts, negative, lacking, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotage, all stemming from fear, okay, we can then start to shine the light on what really is there. What is our truth? You'll hear that word a lot. The truth of us. So it's all about you, okay? And it all starts and ends with you. There's no other way to go about it. So really, it is the responsibility of our response, how we respond to our own inner thoughts, our own inner feelings, our emotions, our behaviors, the responses that we display to what exists outside of us. So from other people, from our environment, from circumstances, we have to own our response. Now, this is really, really important. Initially, I felt obligated. I put a lot of conditions around this. And simply when I let go of the shoulds and being right and being wrong, and just sat in that place of just raising my awareness of how I was responding and actually examining that, things became a lot easier and things happened a lot quicker. So just be very aware of that, of going, oh, I mustn't react or respond negatively. I need to show a different type of response to what I normally do. And why don't I? And why can't I? That's all about judgment. So there is no judgment. There is no right. There is no wrong. There is just awareness and the process, the pathway to accepting greater responsibility of how we respond. So it's really, really important that we focus on our behaviors. So it's what we say to ourselves and how we say it, what we say to others and how we say it. It's our thoughts, it's our inner self thoughts, okay? The inner talk that we express to ourselves, and the beliefs behind that self talk. What is causing us to run ourselves down, give ourselves a hard time, be judgmental about ourselves, okay? And it's not just the conscious self-talk. So this is really, really challenging. We can see the kind of the deliberate self-talk, but it's also taking responsibility for uncovering those unconscious, those deep inner beliefs behind our behaviors and our thoughts. Okay. And that cannot happen overnight. So it's taking responsibility for the work that we are going to do with this. Okay. And finally, it's the visual imagery that we use about ourselves and the future, and about where we want to be and how we want to be interacting, and the visual imagery we use about others as well. So really, really powerful, powerful stuff. Okay. So our response is determined by our perception. Okay. We project what we perceive. Okay, that's a right doozy. That. Okay, so what are we perceiving? Okay, and what is behind that perception? And is that perception really the truth? Imagine that you are a projector, and the image that is being projected by that projector on the screen is just like your mind. Okay, you're feeding that film. Okay, you're creating that film, and you're then responding to the imagery that you're creating in your mind. Okay, so this is what we project. We are projecting our perceptions onto the world. We're projecting our perceptions onto ourselves. Okay, and this is challenging because we've been doing it so habitually for so long. And also, a lot of those perceptions are not really ours. They've been given to us, they've been camouflaged and overlaid onto the deeper recesses of our subconscious mind. So, everything we perceive is a projection of our state of mind. State of mind. Okay. So, this starts to unravel the the complexities that we perceive as life, the challenges, the struggles that we perpetually engage with. And those struggles are not coming from anywhere else other than the projections that we have put on there, that have been created by our perceptions. Okay? So here's something: every upset is a belief in disguise. It is disguised by the ego mind. It is created by the illusion through the mind. Okay, the illusion of wrongness and rightness. Okay, and that is powerful when you understand that we have been schooled, if you like, throughout our life to make these perceptions based on right and wrong. Okay, it's all based around this illusion, this perceptual illusion of what is right, what is wrong, what is good and what is bad. And when you understand that, you can then start to understand that peace cannot exist when that is operating. And what I discovered was that I had no peace. I was constantly in turmoil, constantly in resistance, constantly in the fight or flight mode. My nervous system was hyper active, dealing with the perceptions in my mind of right, wrong, good, bad, fight, flight, um, and all the rest of it. Okay. There was no peace. And if there is no peace, there's no joy. And no joy, no happiness. Okay. And when we're in resistance, when we're in conflict, that cascades into other areas of our lives as well. So when we understand that, sorry, just got to get some more notes done. But when we understand that we are living in this um, cosmic joke, if you like, created by the ego, the cosmic joke of the ego, creating the lie, the illusion that you are somehow wrong, or possibly you are right. you are good, you are bad, you should do this, you haven't done that. Why? Questioning, all of those things lead to that inner turmoil, okay? The inner turmoil, which stops us actually connecting from the truth of who we are. It creates the illusion of separation. The separation, not from others, it is from others, but it's also the separation from ourselves, the separation from the source of who we are. I'm not going to dive into the ideas of source, but we all understand some degree, some level, that we are created from a source of energy, the universe. You could call it God, you could call it Allah, whatever it is, but or you could just call it light. But when we have the illusion of separation, that we are divided from, separate from the core, the truth of who we are, then we will always and perpetually be in a state of resistance, a state of living in an illusion. And only we can take responsibility for that. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go and seek out mystic healers and spiritual gurus and all that sort of stuff, because you don't need to. All you need to do is actually sit with that and really remind yourself, start changing the narrative, the dialogue, that you are separate, that you are something other than whole and complete. Because the truth of us is peace. The truth of us is love. The truth of us is joy, is abundance, prosperity, all of those sort of things. But we are always misled down the line of the illusion. So there is only one truth, which is true, and that is the truth of you. Okay? Powerful, powerful, powerful. And we will forget that. You will forget that. But what we can do is always keep reminding ourselves of it. So we have to get back to that, taking responsibility for reminding ourselves of that, and reminding ourselves of the responsibility to respond to our own inner dialogue. Because when we do that, the events of life have less impact on us, and therefore we have greater control over the outcomes that we want. Okay? And I can share with you loads of different outcomes that have materialized, manifested into my life, because I chose a different way of responding. I chose a different set of beliefs, a different set of visions, a different set of thoughts. And I set my intentions differently towards what I was seeking. Okay. So this is not your fault that we are where we are. And it's not our fault that we will keep making the misperceptions, will continue to be misled by the ego, the illusion of who we think we are, because these are very, very deeply ingrained misperceptions. But what we can always do is just keep coming back to the truth that we are whole and complete, that we are responsible for ourselves and our lives and how we want to show up, how we want to experience life. Mind is life. It's all happening in here. And when we can really understand that and take responsibility for that, and it is not a simple, yep, I'll do that and that'll be better by tomorrow. Okay. It took me a long time to figure a lot of this stuff out. It took me a long time to kind of not wrestle with it, but start trusting and accepting, because our ego mind wants us to understand intellectually. It wants us to understand from a knowledge base. But in fact, That is the illusion that is created to keep us separate. We've got to figure it out. We don't have to figure it out. We just have to trust deeply within ourselves that it is the way, it is the truth. Okay? So it's our responsibility to uncover the truth. It is not out there, but within. And yes, we got to roll up the sleeves, and we got to, face some hard truths. We do. We got to dig into those beliefs and those false perceptions and illusions of fear that have been projected onto ourselves and and that we have in turn projected onto the world. But we also see them, how they're projected by others onto the world. So let's just take the decision now that, okay, we are going to take responsibility. We're going to focus on being happy instead of right. Okay. And in order to do that, we need to do some key things. So this is today's exercise. Or let's not call it an exercise, because that smacks of something that you've got to sit down and go and do. It's hard work. Let's call it a practice. Okay. And initially, I would suggest you write this. Okay, or you could record it audially. But as you get better at it, you can start doing it more quickly, and you can start doing it just by thinking through the steps. And there are only 5 little steps that will help you examine the truth of you, examine the responses that you are displaying, and start to transform those responses, because we're going to get to the cause. And this is we could really dive into this, but we haven't got the time. And all I want to do is get you doing this as quickly as possible. So we need to examine the cause of upset. Okay, what's causing us to feel annoyed, frustrated, angry, emotional, impatient? What's causing us to feel aggrieved, shamed, blamed? We need to address the cause, because anything, even the smallest little thing, is triggering your vagus nerve, and that is a cause from fear. You might go, oh, but I'm not scared about it. It is. It's coming from a subtle, deep inner fear. Okay. And when I understood that, I really went to town, because I just wanted to deal with some of the big things. But actually, there are lots of layers to this. And this is something keep on doing all the time. And what we realize is that we start stripping away and stripping away and stripping away. And then we'll uncover some deep inner misbeliefs, misperceptions that are holding us back. And once we understand them, we can then move on much more quickly. And other ones will keep coming in. But it's just a simple daily practice. So the cause of upset, what's causing it? The first thing is to take responsibility and say, I'm upset. I am upset. That's step 1. Step 2 is to say, it's about me. It's nothing to do with anybody else, but it's about me. Why am I feeling this? Why am I speaking like this? Why am I behaving like this? Why am I holding those feelings and emotions? It's about me. Okay. So once that's powerful, because you've taken responsibility. The third thing is you're going to examine the feelings. Maybe you need to sit down and write them out. What feelings come up when you address this upset? What is coming up emotionally? What is coming up mentally? What's coming up viscerally in your body? How's your body reacting? And write it down. I feel like this. Where does that come from? And ask yourself, where does that belief come from? What is behind that? And it'll be fascinating, because you will see that there are patterns and there are causes and so on that go very deep. And then ask yourself this question: is it true? Is it you? Is it really who you are to feel angry, vindictive, revengeful, shamed, blamed, judged? Is that the truth of who you really are? Were you born that way? Or is that the result of something that has been created in your perception and that you have therefore projected onto your life? You've kind of taken that and put that layer of clothing on. Is it true? Okay. And if you say yes, then I suggest there's something more that you need to dig into. But ultimately, it's not the truth of who you are. That's the key. It's not the truth of who you are. It is merely the projection of a perception, how you've seen the world, how you see yourself. Okay. And you need to remind yourself that you are already whole and complete. So if the answer is this true? The answer is no. Then you go, no, it's not, because I am whole and complete. Okay. I am not my thoughts. I'm not my mind. I am something much more powerful, much more complete, whole than what is being fragmented by the illusion of perception. Okay. So I would write it down. Write down and what is coming up. They did this, they did that, this happened, that happened, that happened, that happened. Expose it. This is the most powerful thing that you can do, because this is going to amplify the truth of who you are, the uniqueness, the magical, miraculous, and magnificent being that you truly are. And the only thing that is stopping you from embracing that, embodying that, owning that, and really believing that to its core is the veil of illusion, is the perception that has been created in your mind, that you've projected onto yourself, and then you have allowed yourself to project onto others. Okay, so we do it to our children, we do it to our colleagues, our friends, and all of that sort of stuff, and they do it to us as well. And we see all of this happening around us, and we're trying to literally do that dance of what is right, what's wrong, what's true, what's false. And in essence, we are then absolving ourselves from owning and taking responsibility for the truth of who we are, for our own uniqueness, and not allowing the information to filter through the conscious mind into the subconscious mind to become a belief that we hold in deep inside of us, that therefore creates the perception of us in the world. So it's quite a lot to wrap your head around from a cognitive, intellectual perspective. There is nothing intellectual about this. You go, what do you mean? Because all there is the truth. All there is the truth. And the truth is that we're all derived from love. That's the only thing that is going on. The rest is a product of perception that is being projected onto the world, whether it's from political leaders, family members, friends, bosses, colleagues, whatever it is. Okay. So this is really, really the start of how we start to amplify us, amplify you, by taking responsibility for our responses and digging deep into what's causing the responses. And then we start to shift how we change those responses, how we start using more empowered, more holistic, if you like, more truthful responses to the world. And in essence, that is it. You know, E plus R equals O. And when we start owning our responses, taking responsibility for those, the outcomes become very, very different. Okay, really, really different. And you will notice that there is a lot of initial confusion, questioning, second guessing, but that's all part of the process, because that means that you are on that pathway, you are on the journey. So this is not meant to be hard work. This is not meant to be something that you have to go and get. This is an acceptance. Literally is in acceptance of the truth. It's the acceptance of the fact that we are actually all part of the same thing. And the only thing that's causing the disconnect, the struggle, the challenge, the resistance, the fight is perception, is the illusion of perception, the cosmic joke that is created by the ego. And that is a dance, and I use the word dance deliberately, that is something that you'll go back and forwards with frequently. I do it a lot. It's that question: why is that happening? Why? How can I change that? What is the change I would like? What is the outcome I would like? Realizing that the outcome can only be created through me. The outcome can only be created in my own mind, with the realization that nothing else can influence that outcome. And if that outcome is wholly determined by external forces, external factors, then I just need to allow and accept and focus on how I relate and respond to that outcome. But by and large, most of the outcomes that we desire, that we want, should stem from the heart and the soul, and consequently, they start to show up. They start to show up more consistently, more powerfully, and in many aspects of our lives, whether it's in your health, your wealth, or in your happiness. So, a big opening subject, amplifier, if you like, for today. More than happy for you to connect with me on Facebook, in Messenger, in the comments, ask questions, and happy to share. But what we will dive into is the other 4 amplifiers throughout the week, which will actually all bolt on to today's topic and help you really, really start to create the emotional, mental, and physical space that you can occupy to process all of this information. And I hope that has been of use, been of interest, been of benefit. It's not easy, but once you get started, it becomes much, much easier. And all you need to do is start, because what you're going to uncover is truly, truly phenomenal. And it's a journey that will bring you many, many rewards of many types, because that's what I've benefited from. And life is very different now. It's much more peaceful. It's much more joyful. It's much more abundant and prosperous. And I know that the manifestations are literally going to show up as I determine them, because I'm no longer in that state of fear and fight and struggle and second guessing. It's all comes down to one thing, and that is accepting and trusting that you are truly magical, you are miraculous, you're magnificent. And if you just focus on amplifying that, everything else in your life will amplify as well. So look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation. And we shall stick up the recording of this. We've run over a little bit today, but big stuff to get your head around and to try and iterate. I'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. UK time. Have a great rest of the Monday. See you soon. Bye for now.